What's going on, guys? TKD 1, 2, 3 video, and today we're gonna talk about another album this week. And today I'm gonna talk about an album that I listened to a few weeks ago, and it's an album that I went to a little bit, during this week, but not a ton. And we're gonna talk about a pretty prominent album here, an album that got a lot of good reception, a lot of people were digging it. But I have some kind of differing opinions on it that I would like to unpack in this video. But without further ado, let's review ASAP Mob's Cozy Tapes Volume 2. Now, this of course is made by ASAP and Company, the whole ASAP crew and everything, and the features list on this goes so far. There are so many features on this. It is very analogous to like a DJ Khaled album, or any other album that has a lot of people on it. It's very much like that, where just in that vein, where there's just a ton of artists on the various different songs around the album and everything, and it just feels like a big ass party. Like, it feels like they record this at a house party with a bunch of superstars and everything, and there was one room where they were recording the album and they just let people just cycle in. Like, there was just so many, but like the ones that just come to mind that are prominent is Big Sean, and of course you got Playboi Carti and stuff like that, and a bunch of others as well. So definitely, if you want that very much multiple artist feel, that's definitely here on this album. And speaking of, this album is 17 songs and 52 minutes long, so it's very weird, where it is a lot of songs. It is a very high amount of songs, but the overall kind of time to listen is definitely not that long. It's definitely just under an hour right there. So definitely it's kind of weird that you definitely have a lot of shorter tracks in this album, and a lot of skits as well that we will get to in a little bit. See, let me touch on the skits right now. So basically the whole thing, which I assume this is how it was in Volume 1. I haven't listened to Volume 1 ever, but I assume maybe it's the same way, where there's an overall kind of narrative to this, where I guess maybe it could be the same thing where they're at school as well in the first one, but in this one, they're in the vein of a high school, and there is a funny skit towards the middle where the principal gets on the intercom and is talking about how there's going to be a play called Bad and Bougie, and he says, if you don't want to be left off Bad and Bougie, come to an audition or whatever. It's super funny and everything like that. And then he has a little jab where it's all Millie Rock will not be allowed on campus, whatever. It's just funny stuff, you know what I'm saying? And then he has the last day of school skit at the end. It's definitely very funny and everything, but overall, I feel like the skits that definitely do shine and are not very much wasteful, I feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, they definitely do have a purpose, and they're very funny overall. So definitely do appreciate those skits being in there. And overall, let me, this is going to be kind of like my overcoming piece here, and I might go on this beat for a long time. But, with the release of this, right, with the release of Volume 2, I kind of was observing everyone, how they reacted to this. Because, like, I kind of wanted to review it. I wasn't the most excited to review this album, but, I thought, okay, like, this might be pretty cool, whatever, I'm saying? Like, it's ASAP. I love ASAP Rocky, mainly, and that's pretty much the only ASAP Rocky member that I truly, like. And, of course, there's Ferg and everyone, but mainly Rocky, right? So, overall, I was like, okay, you know what? If all else fails, if we get this Volume 2 and it's not that good, at least we got new Rocky music, man. Like, at least we got new ASAP Rocky, right? So going into this, right, everyone is treating this like almost like Culture, you know what I'm saying, right back in the beginning of the year with the Migos. But what Culture did and what this album doesn't do is, I feel, kind of deliver on the promise, or not even promise, but on the perspective that a lot of people were having going into this album. Look here, you look at Culture, right? You were gonna get Migos music that was absolutely immaculate, right? And Culture gave us everything that, but more. Culture, I feel, is such an amazing album. It's great. It's so like, it's y'all know what I'm saying here. If you all love Migos, you guys know exactly what I mean right here. Like, the Culture album is absolutely dope. There are great beats, overall great flows. Everything's, cutting edge on that thing. Like, it's super great, right? And, with this one, right, everyone, I feel, was kind of aiming towards that same goal. Aiming like, oh my god, like this is gonna be, one of the best collab projects ever. It's Cozy Tapes 2, all this good stuff, whatever. And then we go into it, and I'm not saying it's bad, right? I'm not saying it's bad. It's very good, right? But I feel, to a certain degree, that it just feels like there's no spark in this project. You know, that makes sense? It just feels like everything is so cookie cutter in this Volume 2. It feels like everything was so to be expected in this Volume 2, and that's what kind of threw me off here, right? Like, we have great tracks like Blowing Minds, Walk on Water is a definite highlight to this whole thing. Frat Rules as well. Like there are plenty of, different songs in this whole project that really do stand alone and really do, have such a great job at being a song, right? But just overall arching feeling, you know, everyone was kind of looking at this album like it was gonna be, you know, the Avengers of, you know, albums, right? Like this coming together of this group and everything, and to be, you know, an album that makes waves, an album that, you know, was talked about. But really, you go on Twitter and, you know, not many people were talking about Cozy Tapes 2. Obviously, this is, you know, made weeks, you know, after the actual release of this, but even during the release, like, you know, there wasn't just the hypeness, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, maybe I feel like overall, kind of just underline my point here, I feel that maybe Cozy Tapes is like a little bit to be expected. I feel like, you know, you looking into Cozy Tapes, right, you are gonna get a ASAP project, you're gonna get a lot of Rocky, you're gonna get a lot of features, it's gonna be a great thing, they're all gonna sound great, right? And that's kind of what the checklist is to an ASAP Mob project, and I feel like we just got that, right? And we didn't get anything, you know, surprising, right? That's what I feel, you know what I'm saying? I feel like this is just this is such a carbon copy cutter to be expected project, and it's not really doing anything that cool, that interesting, that we wouldn't have expected, I feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's kind of my overall point to Cozy Tapes 2, right? And it's not that it's a bad album. Again, let me say it, it's not a bad album. It's just something that I don't know, I just didn't feel that, you know, oomph that, like, for example, Culture had. You know, Culture had oomph. Culture, you know, was great, and it was, I think, well, it had less tracks than, you know, Cozy Tapes 2, but, you know, it's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically all I gotta say about this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good. You definitely stream it. I'm sure it's on Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff. It's on Apple Music, I know, because I listen to it on Apple Music, but besides that, you know, it's on Spotify, and definitely do check out Cozy Tapes 2 if you're a fan of ASAP Mob, you know. And I'd say, you know, honestly, the kind of biggest takeaways here are the really great songs that are on this album individually, and then of course we have ASAP Rocky. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got for this review. If you want to leave a like, subscribe, and share down below. Appreciate me. Thanks for watching, and as always, I got you.